What's up, gaming heroes? Welcome back to another awesome World of Warcraft video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at TSM Enchanting, how you can set up your enchanting groups in TSM so that you can make a ton of profit. This expansion alone, I've made literally millions of gold using enchanting, tailoring, jewelry crafting, and a bunch of other professions. I want to show you exactly how I make my groups, how I make my crafting operations, and how I make my posting operations, so it's nice and easy for you guys to go into it. It's worth noting that everything I show you in this video can just be accessed from my Patreon. Anyone that just wants to save themselves the time of having to create all these groups and everything like that, you can sign up to my Patreon and get access to all of the groups that I actually use myself, and that will save you a ton of time. And it will support me at the same time. And I quickly did just want to say thank you very much to the 20 Patrons we currently have at the moment. It's so awesome that you guys are supporting me, and I hugely appreciate it. In due course, I'm hoping that I could be a full-time content creator, so every little helps, guys. Thanks. Okay, so the first is first. I'm going to show you exactly how you can make your groups. It's so easy. Alright, so simply go to Enchanting, then go to TSM Groups, then there's a little icon on the right side which allows you basically to create a group, which will basically put all of the things that you can craft into that group. It's super easy. Then open up TSM, click groups, and you will be shown all of the various different items that you have access to. This will also show you the materials as well. Materials are very useful if you're trying to do a shopping scan, so you can purchase maybe materials a bit cheaper than you typically would, but we don't really need to look at that right now. What we're looking at is the items, because this is where we're going to create our groups, branching down and basically decide what we're going to craft and what we don't want to craft type thing. Alright, so right now I'm just going to do a ×1 craft, then I'm going to do a ×4 craft, and then I'm going to do a ×20 craft. Why ×4? A lot of people ask, why is that not ×5? I prefer ×4. I find sometimes people don't want to buy 5, so I just do it ×4, and that's it. And yeah, ×20 craft as well. Now, what I typically like to do is just organize all my groups first, get them all organized in my head, and that way I find it so much easier to organize all of my crafting, all of my posting operations. There's no messing about at all. Okay, now we've got our groups set up. We can simply go ahead and start working on the items that we want to have within these groups. Now, because we went ahead and we created that, that ultimate crafting group, which has every item that we can craft, we can now go through that list and basically look at anything which has a 0.04 sale rate on the tooltip. All you have to do to show that is go over the item, and on the tooltip it will show whether it's 0.3, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05, anything like that. For me personally, I like to craft anything that's a 0.04 and above sell rates. That's what I personally go for, and that's what I suggest you guys go for as well. At this point, all I'm doing is going through each item and basically looking at 0.04 and above. If it's got 0.04 sell rate and above, I'm happy to go for it. Okay, so I'm just selecting all the items that are going to sell, because that's the rate in which they'll sell on the auction house. I'm happy to go ahead and add those to the groups. At this point, I'm not looking at profits. I'm not bothering profits, because profits aren't always the same on different days. They could be very, very different depending on your auction house. So always best to just go by sell rate when you're creating your groups, because that's a typical market trend of people buying things. Okay, now we've got, say, all of that split into groups of, 4, 20, 1, depending on that. We'll be looking at the auctions operations next. So the same as it was with the groups, we're going to set up 3 operations: ×1 craft, ×4 craft, and ×20 craft. Now this isn't to obviously do the crafts, this is just for the posting. But personally, I like to just use the same terminology, wording. You can call it ×1 post, ×4 post, ×20 post. It's up to you. I just use the same personally. Alright, so go ahead and create those groups. Now we're going to edit those groups. It's super easy. All we're going to be changing everything to is posting times. I'm only going to have it as 12 hours posting. Minimum price is always 110% crafting. In a previous video, I made a mistake and accidentally put 10% crafting. It is 110% crafting for the posting operations, because you want to retrieve 100% of your cost, and then you want 10% minimum profit as well. Now, when it comes to maximum, we want to go for a max bracket, 500% crafting, and then 500% DB market average. As you can see, we've done that there. And we will go also for the normal price, we'll do pretty much the exact same thing, but we'll drop that down to 250% instead of 500%. There's no need to go so high for the normal price. Okay, now that's created, we can just basically copy that across to the 20%, the times 20 craft and the times 4 craft. Pretty much the exact same thing. You also want to change the posting cap to 20 when it's for the 20 group, and for the 4 group you want to be changing that post cap to 4, because you don't want to post more than 4 if it's a 4, if it's only 4 you're making. Hopefully you're not overstocking on this stuff and wasting your bag space, so to speak. All right, so that's pretty easy to get your posting operation set up. Let's move on to crafting. All right, now same as it was with creating the groups, the same as it was with creating auction operations, exact same with the crafting operations. With crafting operations, we're going to create 3 groups. We're going to create times 1 craft, times 4 craft, and times 20 craft. It's that easy. At that point, then we're going to work through the typical minimum profit that I want to retrieve from each of these operations, as they are slightly different for each one in this scenario. All right, so for the times 1 craft, I typically am always looking for a minimum of 50 gold profit. Now, sometimes I'm very flexible. I'll take a 10% crafting profit. For this, a lot of people think for this moment here that when you're talking about percentages for crafting, you have to put 110% a year profit. That's not actually what you need to put. So when it comes to minimum profit for crafting, this is asking profit. It's not asking how much you're going to post it for. It's asking your minimum profit you're willing to accept on this item. So that's 10%, right? It's not 110%. You shouldn't need to take 110% profit from this. It should only be 10%, because it's already figured out that you want to retrieve your 100% crafting cost, because that's not profit. That's just your cost. It wants to know how much profit you want to make on top of your cost. So this is where we say like 50 gold, or we say 10% crafting. I usually put both. I put like first, then 50 gold. I usually put first, then start the bracket, 50 gold, comma, 10% crafting, close comma, enter, done. That's my minimum personally. And it's much the same with the other groups. And it's much the same with the other operations, such as times 4, times 20. However, you do have to work out the profit differently, because it's gonna work out the profit as a whole. So if you put 50 gold for a times 20 craft, that's basically saying you want to retrieve 50 gold profit over 20 crafts. It's not over 1 craft, each one times 20. So you have to work out that minimum profit. So in this instance, I still want to get my 50 gold from each of these crafts. So for 20, I do 20 times 50, and it's that easy. So I'm going to put 1,000 gold profit as a minimum profit margins on that times 20 craft. And then for the times 4 craft, we're going to do 4 times 50, which is 200. So that's exactly what we want to retrieve from this. All right, so that's exactly what we've done. We've done that now. Now we need to apply these operations to the groups. So I'm simply going back to the groups, overriding the operations, and selecting the operation that I want to basically apply to that group. And it's honestly that simple. Just go through each group, override parent operation, click the operation I want it to do, and then put the new one in. Done. Next one, move on. It's also really important that you go over to the main item section, where it's got every item you have in your enchanting, and you basically override those operations, because you don't want to be crafting the items that don't have a good sell rate. So I go to items, I click operations, I overwrite the parent operations, and make sure there's no operations in there. So I don't want to be crafting anything that is not in those specific groups that I've made and selected items for. Okay, so that's great. Now we've done that, I'm going to show you how to use the task list for enchanting. So at this point, we're going to open up enchanting, click TSM groups, click the group that we want to restock, then click restock groups. Okay, at this point, we're going to go to gathering at the top, because you can see there's a ton of items for us to craft. I'm going to go to gathering at the top of the screen, and then we're going to select the character and the profession. So at this point, I'm selecting my character and the profession, and now we're going to open task list. This task list is really, really important for us to keep in mind, guys, because this task list is going to tell us everything we need to do to get the items crafted in our crafting screen. So it's going to select automatically all of the items we need to purchase on the auction house, the items we need to take off our alts, the items we need to take from our guild bank, everything like that. And it's going to work it all out. Now, if you find it all that you aren't happy with, where it's pulling these items from, you can simply go to the gathering screen again, crafting and then gathering, and change your source priority list on the left hand side, and that will do everything for you there. At this point, I'm just going to go through the auction house and purchase absolutely every material that I actually need to get this craft done super easily. We'll get this done and we'll be right back. Okay, so now we've got all the materials we needed to get these crafts done. I'm just going through the crafts and working through them, getting them all done as quickly as possible. Once these are fully crafted, we can then take them to the auction house and start doing our posting. Now, luckily, because we've already done all the posting operations and everything like that beforehand, it's as easy as just talking to your auction house and selecting the group, selecting auction at the top, and then clicking run post scan. At this point, it will just select all the items in your bags that you've got in that group, and it will basically undercut your competition, and it will hopefully post the item, minimum profit that you've set, or maximum if there's none on the auction house. Now, I'm on an extremely high pop realm, so a lot of these crafts aren't actually hugely profitable for me, and I decided to change one of my settings as a result of that. When you are doing your min, your crafting operations, you've got a choice of going for min 50 gold and then 10% crafting, or you've got a choice of going for first, which basically selects the first string within that that line of strings. So in this instance, I decided to change it from min to first because I really want a minimum of 50 gold profit. I don't really want 10% profit. That's like a minimum for me, but I want a minimum of 50 gold profit on each of these crafts. So that's what I'm going to go for and change that up real quick. So I basically decided to change that just for future reference, just so I'm not crafting items that are only going to bring me like 5 gold profit. It's just a waste of my time, to be honest. I prefer to go for those slightly higher ticker items than to mess about with the items that are going to take time out of my day when I want to be making gold and carrying on playing the game and doing the other stuff that is really fun to do in World of Warcraft. All right, guys. Now, as you can see in this video, I show you really briefly. I think I've got around 750,000 gold worth of crafted items on this character on the auction house alone. Side by side with this, I do gathering on another character. I've got a transmog character who just posts transmog. That character's got 23 million gold on the auction house in transmog items. Then I've got a leather worker. I've got a jewelry crafter. I've got an alchemist. I've got pretty much all of the different professions, and it allows me to obviously make millions of gold per month, and that allows me to easily be able to cover all my WoW tokens. Now, if you guys do have any interest in looking at some of my TSM strings or anything like that, feel free to sign up to my Patreon. On my Patreon, I do have everything that I've shown in this video, but you can just import it directly into your TSM group and save you the time and effort of having to make it yourself. Additionally, it helps to support me to become a full-time content creator, so I massively appreciate everyone who goes ahead and does that. So thank you very much for that. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching. I really hope that you found this video useful. If you did, please go ahead and smash the like button and click subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Join the Discord and make sure you stop by on Monday and Friday on YouTube for the live streams, 8 PM GMT UK time. Bye bye.